Hey guys, Tylord here with a pickups video. I have some video games and movies to talk about coming at you from in front of my gym. We got Hanson's Furniture back there for all your furniture needs. We actually got our love seat and sofa there when we moved into our house. That was like 10 years ago. We still have the same love seat and sofa. So if you're ever in the Modesto area, check out Hanson's Furniture, or if you're from this area, check out Hanson's Furniture. And they're not paying me to say that. Okay, so let's look at some video games I got first. We'll get to the video games first, then y'all can bounce out, because I know the video games are usually more popular. Before I get to my pickups, I want to talk about last week's pickup, Final Fight Streetwise. I beat this game this week, and I enjoyed it immensely. This is one of those games like back from the sixth gen, like one of those games I would buy and I would think about it at work and when I come home and play it again. I love this generation of games, and this one passed me by for some reason, even though I was a mega Final Fight fan. I don't know why I passed this one up. I think I heard the critics and I believe them. There's a lot to criticize about this, but I immensely enjoyed it. Final Fight game set in the Final Fight universe. It's pretty much a sequel to the original Final Fight, only it's a 3D beat 'em up. It's kind of in the same vein as Yakuza. This is like a thug, like ghetto version of Yakuza. And not only that, it kind of turns into like Dead Rising or Splatterhouse or something at the end. It gets crazy at the end, and the control, it takes a little bit to getting used to. I was kind of accustomed to 2D beat 'em ups, but I come to enjoy this. I like Fighting Force, and it kind of has like that. It feels like a little bit smoother, refined version of Fighting Force, the 3D mechanics. And then there's shooting and there's grappling. You can go do underground fights. It kind of has more of like a gritty, realistic look. That may be why it turned me off back then. Kind of looks like a mixture of like Fight Club. It's like a mix. Okay, it's like a mixture of Fight Club and Dead Rising of this game. So the plot gets crazy. There ends up being like drug addict zombies at the end and all these weird monsters you fight. I don't want to give too much of away. Returning characters Cody, Guy, and Rhaegar are in this. You play as Cody's brother Kyle, and Cody's gone missing, and you're looking for Cody. Playing as Kyle here, and you can upgrade his move set. You can upgrade his health bar and his spirit meter and all that. So a little bit of RPG elements, not as much as Yakuza, but man, I really enjoyed this game. It has some issues. I got frustrated a couple times. One part when you have to save your girlfriend and then escort her through the city with all these zombies, I was getting frustrated. I was like, man, I don't know. I'm questioning my ability as a gamer because I kept dying and there was no checkpoints. I don't think it's that difficult, but I was having a tough time with that. But finally got that. Then there's a cool boss rush at the end, and once you get their patterns down, it's not that bad. Like, they're pretty overwhelming at first, just like any game, but when you get to the end, when you figure out their pattern, they're not too bad. So it's beat 'em up shooting. It's a weird game, but I really enjoyed it. I know my boy Terry309 just beat this too. I'm hoping he does a review of it. Go check him out. I'll put a link in his description. He does really thorough reviews. I'm not holding him to it to review this because I know he puts a lot of time into his reviews and writes them out like very professionally. And he's got a lot of other stuff he's working on, but I'm kind of hoping he does a review on this because I want to hear what he says about it. Yeah, like I said, it has some issues. Like, I wasn't crazy about some of those parts that are timed and you have there's a couple timed things where you have to get out of a burning building. I was having trouble with that. You and Guy are trying to get out of this burning building and there's a time limit. And then at one point you're trying to have to go rescue Kyle's girlfriend and then escort her out of the city, and there's no checkpoints. It was really frustrating to me. But of course you can upgrade his moves and buy new moves and go train at the gym and all that. You can go play darts at the bar, similar to Shenmue. You can play mini games. I can go to the restaurants and stomp on rats and cockroaches for the restaurant owners. It's a pretty funny game. All kinds of little mini games. I really enjoyed this. And I got that. I spent $50 credit on this with some of my trade-in, but I think it was well spent. I enjoyed this. I actually played through it once, and I'm almost at the end again on a second playthrough. You can keep all your upgrades on the second playthrough. And then today I picked up for $8, which is not bad. Not for resale version of Battle Arena Toshindin for PlayStation. It's been a really long time since I played this game. It was one of the first PlayStation games I ever played. So like a weapon-based fighting game, 3D, early polygonal fighter, which looked really awesome at the time. It looks like a bunch of blocks now. But it's very similar to Soul Calibur. I think it was Takara that did this. Because I remember the main guy here, when he throws his projectile, it sounds just like Hanzo from World Heroes. He says the same thing, so I don't know if that has anything to do with Takara, but it's been a while since I played it, so I want to go back and play through this. And then we'll move on. We'll move back in time here. Okay, so I've been wanting this game. I've always wanted to try this. I know I hear bad things about it. Castlevania for Nintendo 64. Is it called Castlevania 64? It's just called Castlevania. It's a 3D platformer, which everyone hated on. But you know what? I went and played Castlevania. Is it called Curse of the Moon? The one on Xbox. And I really loved that one. It was almost like a 3D Symphony of the Night. I think it was called Curse of the Moon. I might, anyway, but I love that one. So I'm hoping I remember I tried this one once before I rented it, but I couldn't really get into it. But I'm thinking there might be something here I like. I'm gonna just ignore what I've heard about this game and try it out. It might be a big mistake, but I've been wanting to try this game. Another game to play on my N64, which is grand. And then moving on back another generation. A game on my wish list. I didn't buy just games for the sake of buying them. I wanted to buy games that I had in my wish list. And some of these I had as a kid and I got rid of them. Here's one of them, Mortal Kombat 2. Probably one of the best Mortal Kombats. I have 1 and 3 on Super Nintendo, so now I have all 3 of them. This was probably my favorite. I don't know, what are your favorite Mortal Kombats? My favorite are 1, 2, Deception, and 9. I haven't played much of the new ones, but they're pretty good from what I've played. But this one was always one of my favorites. It almost got up there with Street Fighter for me when this thing came out. Like, I almost like Mortal Kombat as much as Street Fighter. When I played this thing at the arcade, my cousin and I and my buddies and I would play this on Super Nintendo. And the Genesis version is really awesome too. Really tough though. I remember it took me a long time to beat Shao Kahn on this. But I kind of want to go back and try to play this some more and try to remaster it. Mortal Kombat 2 for a Super Nintendo. So it sounded so good. It looked so good from what I remember. And then we just got going back another generation, and this is the end of the pickups. I used up all my credits. I bought my girls some toys too. So I kind of wasted a lot of credits, and I got a couple games for some of my buddies. But here's the last 2. Back to the original Nintendo. I wanted to get Dragon Warrior. This is the one on my wish list I've been wanting ever since I beat Dragon Quest 8 Dragon Quest 8. I freaking love that game. Probably one of my favorite JRPGs. It's probably up there with Final Fantasy VII and Skies of Arcadia. Dragon Quest 8 was just a fantastic game, like a perfect game to me. So I kind of want to go back to the beginning and do Dragon Quest Warrior 1. And I played this a little bit back when I was a kid, but I hated turn-based RPGs back then. And all I did was just grind around and beat slimes over and over and over until I could buy a shield. And I was like, I've had enough of this, but I kind of want to go back and play this now. The music's always fantastic. Here's another one that I must have misplaced or given away from my childhood, Rhaegar. And that's a Tecmo game, right? Yeah, Tecmo. That one, it was Square, I believe. Maybe Nintendo published it, but I think it was Square. Rhaegar here, different from the arcade. I think the Nintendo version is even better. My buddy PWM's always hyping this game up, and I spent a little bit of time with it as a kid, but I got confused and never beat it. I feel like I can take this on after I beat Faxanadu. So I kind of want to go back and play this now and beat it. I know you can level grind on this, so that really helps me out. Platformer, kind of adventure, kind of RPG-ish. He has the big yo-yo shield. Actually the PlayStation 2 version, I don't know if it's a sequel or a remake, was pretty good too. So that's it for the games. I got a couple more, some silliness at the thrift store. I haven't really found much stuff at the thrift store lately, but I did find 2 Star Wars games with their PC. Like Battlefront 2, which is great. Kind of cool to have that on PC. It's got the key code in there. And then Republic Commando for PC, and the key code's in there. I remember this was on original Xbox and was like so ahead of the time. Like it looked so good on original Xbox, better than anything on PS2. That, and then I got my wife. She's into Age of Empires. She's obsessed with Age of Empires 2. That's always been her favorite one, and I think Mythology she likes too. But she started playing Age of Empire on Game Pass. They have Age of Empire 2 has been released on Game Pass, but she wasn't crazy about it. I don't remember what she was saying, if it was some newer version of Age of Empire 2. But anyway, I got her 3, and I don't remember her ever saying too many good things about this, but I thought I would pick that up for her. Play it on her PC. It's old enough, I'm sure it would work. And that has the key card or the key code in there too. It has a great big book in there. That's pretty cool. Wow. And then I picked up some rewritable CDs. There were 5 of these for $5. You never see these around, so I snag them when I can. I want to start burning some Sega CD or Dreamcast games. And then I found it for $4. I found like a tower of them right here. This is great to have this. I don't know if they're CDs or DVDs, but good to have these. I can burn some games onto them, or movies, whatever they are. I was able to burn Xbox 360 games onto those dual layer DVDs. I had a modded Xbox, but I think I gave it away, but that was cool to be able to burn games. So that's it for the video game, so you all can leave now. I'm talking about the movies now. Okay, so on Instagram, I've been following this guy. He goes by Retro VHS World. He always puts up little sales on his channel. He's a collector and seller of retro movies and some video. I think, yeah, just mostly movies. A couple movies he had on there on VHS. I hate that I'm turning into one of those VHS collecting weirdos, but I'm going to set up my man cave pretty soon and make it look like a video store. A couple of movies I really like that I want on DVD or Blu-ray have not been released on DVD or Blu-ray. These 2 movies that might be on Laserdisc, but just these were $2 on his sale, so I bought them from him. He always has all kinds of cool movies. I think I already got a Gary Daniels movie and an Olivier Gruner movie from him, but I got a couple other martial art movies I really like. And this one's not available as far as I know on Blu-ray or DVD. I like there was a region free like European version of this, but it's like $50. But here is Mission of Justice with Jeff Wincott. Jeff Wincott's super underrated martial arts action star, like really good actor, but man, he brings the martial arts like some really cool moves. You could tell that guy is like up there with like Lorenzo Lamas and Van Damme and all that. Jeff Wincott, Bridget Nielsen is the villain in this. He's very sinister and very beautiful, very tall. Red Sonja herself, kind of like a hood street action movie. What's her name? Bridget Nielsen's top thug is Matthias Hughes is in it. That big blonde buff guy. He fights with Jeff Wincott. And the other thug, her other henchman is James Liu. You always see those guys were always henchmen back then. James Liu and Matthias Hughes. Karen and his buddy, he's a cop in this, and his partner is Karen Shepard. Really awesome, two-time U.S. black belt kata champion, female martial artist, kind of like another Cynthia Rothrock that wasn't in that many movies. I do like a woman Terminator. I like with her and this one, and she actually fights Cynthia Rothrock in Righting Wrongs. Anytime you can find a movie, seek out Karen Shepard here. She's fantastic. She's very beautiful. And pretty good on camera. I think she's a pretty good actress. And then what else? Bridget Nelson's in there. This is actually the third installment in the martial law series. The first one had Steve McQueen's son. Is it Chad McQueen? And Cynthia Rothrock. They were in that one. They were cops. The bad guy was David Carradine. The second one had Jeff Wincott and Cynthia Rothrock. And that one was pretty cool too. And I think this is like the third one in the series, maybe overseas or something. This is Martial Law 3 or something. My buddy Corey from Hardcore Graveyard was explaining that to me, and he sent me a link to get the Blu-ray of this, but I don't really want to spend $50. I like this movie a lot, so I'm happy to have that on VHS. The other one, one of my I don't know if it's one of my favorites. It's up there though. Albert Pyun's so many match movies. I was about to say death match. Albert Pyun's Blood Match. Looks like it has Spanish subtitles, huh? Death is a game nobody plays twice. So this is a cool, kind of a low budget movie, but I like anything Albert Pyun, and I like the style of his movies. I think this was probably filmed on the same set as Kickboxer 2, so it's probably done in a hurry, but I really like it. It has a lot of cool martial artists in it. It's kind of like a thriller movie, kind of like Saw. The main guy is Tom Matthews from Friday the 13th Part 6 and the Return of the Living Dead movies. That's what everyone likes him from, but I like him from, I like those movies too, but I mostly, I'm a big fan of his because of these Albert Pyun movies, and he does a lot of cool martial arts in this. You never think of this guy as a martial artist, but he's like the main star. And what he's doing is he's captured all of these other guys because they did him wrong in the past. I don't want to give the plot away, but he has them tied up in this arena, and he fights them in the ring one at a time, and he has dialogue with them, and he's extracting some of the backstory of all this and how they did him wrong, and he kills them all in the ring, and he goes through all of them. One of them is Benny Urquidez, Benny the Jet, one of the best competitors in martial arts history. Also has done a lot of movies like choreography and stunts. He's actually has a role in this movie, which is cool. Probably his biggest role in the movie. I know he was in Kick Fighter with Richard Norton, where he was the main fighter at the end. But you've seen him, and he always fights with John Cusack in movies. He's a lot of other cool martial artists in here. That's all I'll talk about that one right now. Blood Match, Albert Pyun's Blood Match. Love that one. So I have those on VHS. On to some more VHS trash I got from Rasputin's. Today I picked this up because they're 50 cents over there. I picked this up because of it's a William Friedkin movie, and I haven't seen this. It was always kind of on my radar. Jade. I'm not gonna read this. Oh, it looks like it's got David Caruso in there. Michael Biehn is in it. Well, But anyway, it looks like some sexy thriller. I don't really know much about that one, but... And then old Glimmer Man with Keenan Ivory Wayans and Steven Seagal. I remember this was kind of one of his better, newer movies. Is this after 2000? 97. That's why it's a pretty good movie. It came out before 2000. It's been a long time since I've seen that. And then I've never seen this series, but I really want to get into it. And I found this must be a sequel. It's called Trials of Billy Jack. And I guess Billy Jack is like a kung fu Indian guy. And I really want to watch this series. It's with this actor. What's his name? Tom Laughlin. And I always hear people hyping up this movie like it's a cool like kung fu movie. I don't know about the Trial of Billy Jack, but I know there's a few of these movies, so I want to get into those. So I thought I'd pick that up. This one, I thought it was one of those 70s movies, but I think it's from the 80s. It looks like it's 89. Lords of the Deep with Priscilla Barnes, who I really like, from License to Kill. And looks like a deep sea thriller type thing. I don't really know much about that one. At first, the way the artwork and everything looked, I thought it was like something from the 70s. It's got Bradford Dillman. And then here's a great, what do you call it? A kind of a futuristic sci-fi thriller time travel movie, Free Jack. Really cool movie. I'm glad to have this in my VHS collection. I always recommend this movie to people. I saw it at the show with my dad when I was a kid. Maybe I just takes me back to brings back warm memories. All the movies I saw with my dad, seems like we always picked out good ones, or maybe it was just fun going to the movies. But this was a cool, kind of in the same vein as like Total Recall or something, like futuristic movie about time travel. Emilio Estevez is the star. His lady is Rene Russo. The bad guy is the big, the corporate boss or whatever he is, Anthony Hopkins, and he has a mercenary sent after to get Emilio. It's Mick Jagger from Rolling Stones. And I think this is the only movie he's ever acted in and been in. He's not that bad in it. Like, this is a cool movie. Don't want to give it all away, but it's set in the future, but it starts off present day. Which was probably 1990 at the time. Emilio Estevez was a race car driver, and his young girlfriend was Rene Russo, and he dies in a terrible explosion on the track. So a leap ahead to the future, Anthony Hopkins is like this rich guy. He owns everything, and of course his lady is Rene Russo now. Like, he's like his secretary, or she works for him now. He's the big baddie. And he's getting old and sick. In the future, everyone's sick. There's so much pollution and disease. No one has healthy bodies. So he wants to go back in time to get a body from the past when they were healthy, and then put his brain into the body so he'll live another 30 years or 50 years or whatever. So but they can't go back in time and to alter the history or whatever. They can't just go back and take anyone from the past. They have to go back and catch someone where it won't change anything. Like, so Emilio Estevez got incinerated in that Indy racing competition. So they go back and they snatch his body out of time right before the car is incinerated in that explosion. So no one's ever going to miss him. They bring him back to transplant brains with this guy, or minds, so he can live forever. And then, but of course, in the middle of that, after they capture this guy, he gets away, so that he's on the run in the future. Anthony Hopkins sends Mick Jagger and his squad to go track him down. Meanwhile, he finds his old girlfriend. They hook up again. He's a little bit older now. And Anthony Hopkins anyway, it's a cool movie. I thought I'd just explain the setup to it. And then I think that's it for... Okay, now it's all just DVDs from here on out. Speaking of Emilio Estevez, I got this one at the thrift store, Judgment Night. Never seen it before, but I've always wanted to. It's got Emilio Estevez once again and Cuba Gooding Jr. And I think I think Dennis Leary's the bad guy. I think they like get stuck on the wrong side of town, and it's like a really bad part of town, and Dennis Leary's trying to kill them or something. Like they're on their way to a football game or something, from what I remember. It always looked cool, but I never saw it. But there's that. Here's one. I don't think I've ever seen this, so I thought I'd get it. I collect Van Damme movies, and this is probably when his movies were still pretty good. A knockoff. That one's got Rob Schneider in it, so I gotta revisit that one. I think this might be Peter Hyams. Nope. Paul Sorvino's in it. Written by Stephen E. D'Souza, who directed Street Fighter. I think he wrote for some like Commando and Die Hard. Directed by Sui Hark. I don't know. We'll have to check that out. So I had to get this Seagal movie. My buddy PWM has been hyping this up because it's he has like his voice dubbed over through half of the movie. Seagal. It's supposed to be pretty bad, so I think I might get a kick out of this. Attack Force. Here's one. I really like this movie. I saw it at the show with my buddy back when it came out. Was it the late 90s or early 2000s? Bowfinger with Steve Martin and Eddie Murphy. Those are probably my two favorite guys to ever come out of Saturday Night Live. There's been quite a few good ones though. And this is actually directed by Frank Oz. Another reason why I think I like this movie. Frank Oz directed Dirty Rotten Scoundrels with Steve Martin, so I kind of like the type of humor that I really love. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. That's probably one of my top favorite comedy movies. This one's pretty funny. He's a producer, a director, or something. And he's trying to make a new movie, and the big star is Eddie Murphy. I can't remember the guy's name. Kit Ramsey. Kit Ramsey's like the big movie star, and it's Eddie Murphy, and he wants that guy to be in his movie, but he can't afford him and he can't get a hold of him or whatever. So they do shady stuff, like they say he's in the movie, but they'll just go sneak around his house and like film him, and then edit it into their movie and say he's in the movie. And then that doesn't work, so they go find this lookalike guy, this nerdy guy that looks just like him to be in the movie. I think it's a pretty funny movie. I got another copy of Cole the Conqueror. I was gonna send that to my buddy Aaron. I don't know if he has it or not. I have some more. I have another Hercules VHS I was gonna send. Maybe I'll send that with it. Really great Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. One of my favorites. This one's sealed. Total Recall with special edition with the slip cover. From 1990, right before Terminator 2. Fantastic movie. I love this movie every time I watch it. I could probably watch this movie every day the rest of my life. And this one has a commentary with Arnold and the director Paul Verhoeven, which is fantastic. Oh, speaking of Eddie Murphy, I don't remember if I had this or not. I have it on VHS, Coming to America, with Arsenio Hall, James Earl Jones, all kinds of big stars. I think even Samuel L. Jackson had a little brief role in this. Oh, here's one. I was probably going to send this to Roman Dan, my buddy. Diablo 2, the movie. It's like an animated movie. I have a little package I'm trying to put together for Dan. If you don't want this, Dan, let me know. If not, I'm putting it in there. I don't know anything much about that. Here's one I got just because I had a Ken Shamrock movie, The Bunker. And then it has Battle Earth and Colombian Collection. Or, pardon me, Columbia Connection. So we got The Bunker, Battle Earth, and the Colostomy Collection. What? I said the Colombian Connection. Let's see. Yeah, so Ken Shamrock in a movie Or if he'll flip out and go Rambo on everyone. Like, ah! But anyway, and here's one. We'll stick with the wrestlers. I found Booker T's early matches. I might send that to my buddy Mario. This looked like it's back when he was in GWF, and I remember that. And I was thinking, him and his brother, man, these guys are gonna like probably go to WWF or WCW, and they did. I think they were called like the Ebony Experience, Booker T and Stevie Ray. But here's some old Booker T matches, and he fights Super Destroyer, Alex Porto, and Mike Davis. I remember Mike Davis. And then he fights Action Jackson, not Carl Weathers, but the wrestler. So I got that. And then just the last one. Okay, Bubba Hotep with Bruce Campbell. I think it's like a comedy horror movie, and I've never seen it, but I like Bruce Campbell, of course, from Evil Dead and a lot of Sam Raimi stuff. I like that old show. My wife and I watched the whole thing. It was called Jack of Trades with him, and we're gonna try to start watching Briscoe County Jr. with him. We watched the first few episodes. It's pretty good. It's like a Western sci-fi type thing, kind of like Wild Wild West. But his buddy in Briscoe County Jr. is Shogun Shonuff from The Last Dragon. I didn't realize he was in that. Anyway, yeah, Bubba Hotep. And this one, greatest, most entertaining performance to date from Bruce Campbell. Wow. He's at a retirement home. It has something to do with a 3,000-year-old Egyptian mummy. So I haven't seen that one. Who's this directed by? Don Coscarelli. Anyway, well, that's about it. I gotta go to the gym now before I get too lazy and skip it today. What else? I'm gonna try to play some Resident Evil 4 again tonight. I played through the whole thing and streamed it. My favorite game of all time. Getting ready for the remake release coming out in March. Resident Evil 4 is my favorite game of all time. I just watched my buddy Michael Emerald Game Cave beat it last night on a stream. I was thinking, man, I want to play it again. I love that game so much. I might play through with a machine gun just so I can go through the whole game fast with a Thompson. I might try to stream that tonight, and we can talk about Resident Evil and the remake. There was just a new trailer drop for the remake, and it looks so freaking good. Like, I never imagined that it would ever happen. Like, I never wanted it to happen because I didn't think it needed a remake. But I'm thinking it's going to be on the same lines as the original Resident Evil remake, where it's like the same game, but just way better graphics, and they added stuff to it. Because it looks like everything's kind of pretty much the same, only it looks better. You control them differently. I would lose my mind if they had an option where you could control Leon with tank control, like the old school style. Because it looks like it's more of a contemporary, like the good type of controls, which would probably work better for this. But I always liked the old controls and the quick turnaround and all that. Anyway, so I'll see you guys later. Okay, I'm at 34 minutes. Okay, you guys have a good one. Maybe I'll see you this weekend. Bye.